Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we proudly present our spectacular show of podcast magic and imagination full of Disney wonder, news, and pop culture. It's the Main Street Electrical Podcast with Jenn Dave and David Dollar.
Hey, Jen. Hey, Jen. Oh, Jen is not here. That's right, it's the Main Street Electrical Podcast, and for the first few minutes, you're going to have just me, David Dollar, your host. Jen is actually out this week. She's had a crazy couple of weeks, and she needed a little bit of rest and relaxation. As you listen to this, she is actually flying down to Cancun with a good friend, Agent Kyla, friend of the show, friend of ours, and incredible travel agent as well. Kyla and Jen are going down for somewhat of a girls' weekend down in Cancun. They'll be spending a couple of days down there. I'll give you some contact information at the end of the show. You can follow them for all the fun and frivolity they're going to have. And so Jen decided to take off this week, and that's okay. You will hear Jen in just a few minutes whenever we get to our guest. But first, I wanted to open the show real quick and tell you how I Disneyed this week. That's right, folks. I Disneyed by going to a conference a couple of weeks ago, and then, of course, I talked about the Thing conference that I went to and had a great time and everything. And if you want to know more about that, contact me, and I'm happy to tell you more because I don't want to get off on a non-Disney tangent. But I was sitting with a gentleman whose name is Ryan, and he is actually one of the geek guys from I Am Geek, a great podcast. If you guys have never listened to the show, it's a fun podcast. It's all about geeky stuff, and that's kind of why I enjoy it. And he's been on the show a couple of times, and they're actually going to come back hopefully for our Christmas episode. So we're sitting there at this thing and the thing. And there is a gentleman on stage named Warren Carlisle, and Warren Carlisle runs an octopus fan club, octopusfanclub.com actually, and it has an octopus face group, basically the largest octopus face group on the planet. I think it's called Octonation, and it's right there on Facebook, and it's just one of those things he started out of nowhere, and Octonation is now huge. It's massive, and they do seminars, and they work with aquariums, and they do speaking, and its tentacles are everywhere, if you will. Anyway, so Ryan talks to me afterwards, and he just says simply, "Is that it?" And I was like, "Yeah, he just started it." And is that all Warren did? He just kind of created it and just went from there. And I was like, "Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's probably more to it than just that, but that's kind of the story." So go to Octonation on Facebook if you want to investigate that. So later that night in my hotel room, as I'm kind of closing down and I'm making some magic for some people online and such, as I'm sending off some quotes and things, I get an invitation to a group called Bibbidi Bobbidi Poo. That's right, Bibbidi Bobbidi Poo, celebrating the bathrooms of Walt Disney World. And I look ahead, and there is my friend Ryan Street. He has just started this brand new Facebook group, something he'd been wanting to do for a while. Bibbidi Bobbidi Poo. It's so goofy. It's hilarious. I love it. I absolutely love it. The place is kind of a dump. It's not my favorite group. It's number 2. Of course, the jokes are rampant through that group as well. So make sure you go over there to Bibbidi Bobbidi Poo and give it a like. It's a fun little page there. It's not crass. It's not gross. It's not filthy or anything like that. It's not an adult group. It's just it's celebrating the bathrooms of Walt Disney World. There are pictures of bathrooms. Thankfully, not too far inside bathrooms, but pictures of bathrooms and kind of descriptions about certain ones you'll find. And who knows? We need information about bathrooms. I know that I need to know what the family restrooms are and that kind of thing. So that's how I Disney this week. Actually, joining a Facebook group, which I think is just absolutely fabulous, and it's thinking outside of the box, or stall, if you will. All right, well, enough with all that. We're going to get to our guest here. She was back on episode 26. She joined us last November, and I think this is going to be kind of a tradition now. Hopefully, we'll have her at least every fall, if not a couple of times a year. We'll definitely have her in the fall every year. That, of course, is Stacey Aswad, better known as Must Do Disney Stacey. Now, we talked to Stacey about what she's catching up with now, what's going on now, what she thought when she found out that the Must Do Disney was gone, kind of the fandom that she has, the new products that are available in lostbros.tradingco.com, which we'll get to that in just a minute. Not a sponsor, just somebody that we're big fans of. Anyway, you guys enjoy the show. I'll see you on the other side. And once again, in the studio, I'm so excited because, again, it's another example of how much I love doing this podcast because of the cool guests we have on, making her glamorous and amazing return because she must do the Main Street Electrical Podcast. It's Stacey. Stacey Aswad coming back on the studio. How are you, Stacey?
Hi, guys. Hi. Thanks for having me back. It's always
Absolutely.
a pleasure.
Oh my gosh, thanks for coming back.
This is your second fall in a row, so now I feel like it's a tradition because in the South, 2 weeks or 2 times in a row makes a tradition. So every fall, it's going to have to be Stacey fall. I mean, sometime or another, we're going to have to plan for it and just bring you back, which is awesome.
Yep.
So,
Let's do the fall instead. Let's not fall down. But
So the first question we have to ask you, and we do this with everybody, is, Stacey, how did you Disney this week?
Oh, well.
Probably should have prepped her on that, Jen.
Probably should have.
I did Disney really uniquely, like I've never done Disney before.
Look at the shirt. Look at the shirt. I'm so...
You guys.
Yes.
I mean, and I am not... This is like all about celebrating the Lost Bros.
Yes.
Oh my
I think that's fantastic. I love it.
They approached me a while ago about doing some merch.
I love that.
I love it. I'm your host hat. For those of you on YouTube, you're seeing everything she's holding up. And she's holding up shirts,
cute.
a bucket
Hats.
Sorry,
non-visual.
No, it's okay.
Yeah. So the Lost Bros are just, as you know, just beautiful human beings.
Yes.
And they had approached me about, do I want to do, they had been hearing from fans about, well, I want Stacey stuff. And I'm like, that's so...
Well, before you continue, let me set up for the audience. The Lost Bros, and I didn't know this until last year. I didn't even know who the Lost Bros were. And one of our agents, Kyla, actually sent me a picture with one of the Lost Bros in the park. And I'm like, I don't know who this is. I'm like, is that a guy from Nickelback? Who is that? I don't know. And she's like, no, it's a Lost Bro. I'm like, I don't know who that is. They're a team.
You need to leave your house.
I know, right? LostBrosTradingCo.com. They're a team that does Disney and park themed merchandise, T-shirts and things like that. And I'm actually wearing one of their shirts. It's a monorail shirt, and it's got "Please Stand Clear of the Closing Doors" on it.
Great one.
And it's got the monorail down the side. I've ordered my wife a Big Thunder shirt, which is gonna have the Big Thunder train on it. I mean, it's just their stuff is so cool, and hopefully we're gonna have them on the podcast. We want to invite them on to come on as well.
Love to have them on.
But I want to find out just about their marketing and how they are authorized to do these, because their stuff is so cool. I love their stuff, probably more than Disney and more reasonably priced than Disney. So of course now we're into the point where they approached you about doing merchandise. So yes.
Yeah, I mean, and they are so incredible about how they celebrate the things. They're not trying to rip anybody off. I mean, they create such a unique way of celebrating the things that people really love. And so they had been getting, I guess over the years, they'd been getting some feedback about people going, we want Stacey stuff. And honestly, like I've been approached before over the 15 years of, hey, do you want to do this or that? And it just didn't feel right. And listen, as I've said before, I'm the person you saw on the TV, but it's not about me. I'm just the guide and the vehicle to get you guys to have a magical, memorable, fantastic experience. So I'm not like, oh, it's the Stacey show. I mean, so, I try to keep my humility and gratitude very much in check. And so when they asked me, there was just something about the timing and more than that, them as humans, where I just went, gosh, this is really cool. So we collaborated on this, and they wanted to hear what I thought. Then, so we created these hats and shirts and this umbrella that just makes me smile from my heart. Because whether it's raining or I love shelter from the sun and shelter from the rain. So it's so cool. And so we just launched it, and I'm told that, things have sold out, but they are bringing it back. They will restock at some point. So if you go on lostbros.com, and you'll see, just give them your email. They're not going to do anything crazy with it, but they'll notify you when it comes back. The shirts, especially. I think there's a few hats and umbrellas left, but it was just really cool. So, I mean, I'm incredibly honored and flattered that people would want to plaster me on their body. And I look at it more of like, if it's the shield to keep you safe and remind you that you are amazing and loved and magical, then that is what more so than I want it to be about me. But that's kind of how I Disneyed, and it was very exciting and unexpected.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. I have to apologize to you, Stacey, because I am a huge fan, but I am not apparently a good fan, because I was so excited for the pre-orders. I was so excited when I found out the merchandise. I posted it. You liked it on Instagram. I was like, yes, it's coming, and I put it up there. And then a couple days went by after they released it, and I'm like, I got to order my shirt. A couple days went by, I went to order it, and they had sold out. Like, it went that fast. And I was heartbroken, and I'm like, I can't wear my Stacey shirt on when we're interviewing her on the podcast, and I feel terrible. I really do. I was so, because I was gonna wear it next week to the parks, and I knew people were gonna be like, I love that shirt, and I was so excited. I don't know that the tie-dye bucket hat's gonna look that good on me or whatever, so I didn't go to the bucket hat.
I dare you to wear it.
I think it would look really nice with your eyes. I really do.
See?
You know.
Listen, save your sorries for the sorry-worthy offense. This is not a sorry-worthy offense. I am with you always.
So, but I did what you said, because they sent me the email, because I actually emailed them, and I was like, I guess you guys are sold out, and they said, hey, it sold out immediately, like faster than I think they thought it would, but they, give us your email here, fill this whatever out, and we will alert you as soon as they're ready. So my email is filled out, and so it's really just that simple, folks. You get on their waiting list for things.
That's very sweet. That's
so
very sweet.
Well, Disney fandom is very loyal, so when we find what we love, then we're all in always. Right. I feel like that's the entire Disney fandom. So Stacey, like it or not, I guess you're an icon now. Everybody loves you. So
That's very sweet. That's very sweet. I have here in my booth my little Stacey Lego.
Oh my gosh, that's so
Remember her?
Yes, the Stacey Lego.
I think she's more iconic than I am. And I love the fact that you can spin her around and she is a little bit acrimonious. but she generally isn't. But yes, she has fabulous hair. If only my hair could look as good as hers. But you guys are very sweet. You've always been so lovely to me, and that is not lost on me, nor is it taken for granted. So thank you. And I love what you guys put out into the world and how you serve and help people. It's really beautiful.
Well, after you came on last year on one of our episodes, I got a ton of feedback from the episode. But people loving the episode, people loving to talk to you, and they were just like, you talked to Stacey? And suddenly Jen and I were like the sort of iconic status. We talked to Stacey at least for a week or two. And so the feedback was great, though, because people do love you. And I think we mentioned this last time you were on, is the fact that people have grown up with you. Like people who are in their 20s and even in their 30s who have been going to Disney for 15, 20 years. Like that's what they remember when they were kids turning you on. And now they're in their 20s and 30s. They have grown up with you. And so to me, you're more than an icon. You're like this foundation of a lot of people's Disney experience for the rest of their lives. And I firmly believe that Disney, Chapek, come on, people. Josh, tomorrow you're listening. I know you are. There needs to be an award given to Alan Tudyk, the voiceover artist, to Stacey, and to Yeehaw Bob. I don't know what it is you give to them, but there needs to be, because those are the three iconic Disney mainstays that to me do not get enough recognition. I'm just saying.
That is very generous. Thank you for that. Listen, I think that for me anyway, as a performer, whether I'm on camera or on the microphone, my goal is to be a part of the process, to bring my best, help people feel something maybe better than when they got there, and just to be a blessing, because I just don't take it for granted. I feel like everything that I'm allowed to do is a beautiful opportunity, and I treasure it while it's happening, but I certainly don't go, oh yeah, this again. I mean, as I've said to you before, it was supposed to be a 1-year gig and it turned into 15. And that's really special. I certainly don't feel like I've made anything. I don't know. I guess I'm my parents' daughter, and I've always been very much like in check about my contribution. I am a piece of a puzzle. I am not the entire puzzle. And so it's really special. And it's one of those things like, you had said, Jen, like, it's something that we'll always have. We'll always have that time. We'll always have the top 7. We'll always have the must-dos. It's just like this capsule, that it's just cool. And the lines that people love to say, and being able to hear from kids that were either conceived who not to be too racy, but hopefully I wasn't there, who knows? I was like there, but wham, wham, wham. It's all wham takes on a new meaning, but
I never thought about that, but now I'm like, how could that not have happened?
I mean, it pretty much did. It did.
Sure.
But it's like, listen, what stays at Disney, what happens there. Yeah. But I love when I hear from people that were like literally infants and now they're either getting engaged or married or companioned somehow, or, hearing that they like I'm part of their childhood, or I was there when someone got proposed to, or family reunions, or I just think anytime you can be a part of a true, pure, joyful celebration of whatever that means, family, given family, chosen family. I mean, how cool is that? Like, that's just such a neat experience to be a part of people's happiness. So I'm incredibly grateful for the experience and the fact that people still care and are interested in, me as a human being too. I mean, that's lovely. It's very lovely.
So do you get, I'm assuming you do, people that recognize you outside of the parks? I know if you go to the parks, you're probably going to get mobbed. Because, Stacey, especially the people that are parents now, they're like, oh my gosh, Stacey. I mean, but outside the parks, do you get recognized when you go to Target or when you're visiting a city or whatever? I mean, do people come up to you and say, "You're Stacey, you're Stacey"? I would.
I do sometimes, and it does sort of. I kind of go, oh gosh, and because sometimes, I mean, I have really good recognition. I mean, I'm a visual person, so I can 2D, 3D, but it's always funny. I remember helping someone pick out avocados at Trader Joe's. Because I pride myself on picking good watermelons and avocados.
Ooh.
So I do have a knack, a secret.
Next time you're in Pittsburgh, you can help me get an avocado because I pick duds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, okay, so
a little brown stem and look for the color of that. Anyway, so it's a produce chat on today's produce chat. I love a good produce chat. It's always kind of fun to see, if I'm out of context, people go, "Oh, you're you." The best was I was in a parking lot walking away towards my car, and someone went, "Stacey," and I'm like, wow.
That's
the
impressive.
back of my head, and I had a hat on. I was like, that is something.
Okay, that's good. That's good right there.
I was impressed. I was like, high five, dude. Nice.
Seriously.
Well, one thing I do want to ask you, and it's because this subject fascinates me, and you're the perfect person to ask for it because you are a producer, you're a writer, you are a voiceover artist extraordinaire. Tell us about the voiceover process. Like, I know that you've done some video games. I know you do the VO Buzz Weekly on YouTube and things like that. So tell us about how, I guess from start to finish, when you're either writing and sending off scripts or when you're actually doing the voiceovers, how does that begin? How does that start? How are you involved? How does that work?
Okay, well, for example, I write the scripts for Demos That Rock, which is my and Chuck Duran's, he's the producer, director, he is the guy. He works with clients all over the world. He was working remotely before remote was the thing, with people all over the world. And so if you're interested if you need a demo to procure work, representation, whatever that is, he is incredible. And so I write the scripts for those demos. So he gives me all the specs and the criteria for the client. Everything is custom written. It's not cookie cutter, each of, like, if you each were doing a demo, I wouldn't just go, here, one for you, one for you. It's all catered to the specific voice actor, the goals, the needs, the strategy.
Wow.
So I do a lot of research. So I make sure whether it's for commercials, promos, narration, for in-show, for variety, e-learning, corporate, whatever it is, do a lot of research to make sure we're on trend of what's happening.
Yeah.
And so I write all of that, give those packages back to Chuck, and then he records it and makes it brilliant. So that part for me is done to the side.
Okay.
And we work together but separately on that. So I get all the information, give it back to him, and then the magic happens in his part of it. As a voice actor, again, I mean, I was working remotely a lot even before COVID. And so, I'm in my booth where I am right now with my animals.
I love them.
And they and I, we, you get everything in, I have managers and agents. And so you get in copy, whether it's commercial, promo, animation, games, you read the specs. Sometimes I don't read the specs. Sometimes I just record. I mean, usually a lot of times what I do is I open it up to whatever it is. Say it's a commercial for a retirement account or for a fast food service or whatever. And sometimes I'll just record what my gut says. This is how I think. This is how I think it's out. And then I'll read the specs after.
Yeah.
Because I'm not streaming it. I'm recording it. It's not like someone's getting it that second. So I'll record it and then I'll go and see like, that was kind of what they wanted, or wow, completely. And a lot of times I'll send them. Yeah. Sometimes I'll send them 2 takes. I'll send them the take that they think they're asking for. And then I'll send them another one, which is the Stacey-ized one. And, because at the end of the day, there's so much about the voiceover process I cannot control. It's very competitive. They're getting possibly hundreds or thousands of auditions. And if I sit there and micromanage, what do I think they want? Then I am completely constipated. I am paralyzing myself because I'm outside of my instincts. I'm outside of my heart because I'm like, what do I want? And if I'm trying to please everybody, it's not going to happen in life and in work. It's like, I can only do what I can do to the best of my abilities, try to be brilliant at what I do. And then I literally put it together, label it properly, and send it off. And I have a point in my house where once I walk to that point, that's it. I don't think about it. I don't talk about it. It's gone. If it comes back my way, great. If it doesn't, it was an awesome opportunity to play, to be creative, and to make something happen. And maybe it's not that thing, maybe it's something later, but I don't really set expectations on, I do my best and that's all I can do. It has to be enough. And then I don't allow my number of auditions, callbacks, avails, bookings. That relationship is not in direct correlation with my happiness. So if I'm booking a lot, I'm not happier than if I'm not. Because there's just certain things about my life that are non-negotiable. And my joy, my happiness, my peace of mind, my serenity, my family, my animals, like there's just things that are off limits to the world as far as controlling what happens there. So
that's so healthy. That is so healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
I love that too. And I love, and go back to something you said, because I think you mentioned this before, you have that point in your house where you walk things to. Once you pass that point, it's done.
Yeah.
Do you ever approach that point with whatever in your hand going, okay, maybe I shouldn't approach my point. I'm going to stop right before this point. Or do you just, as soon as you're walking that hallway or whatever, you're like, I'm done. I'm pushing through. If I have regret 3 steps from it, I don't care. I'm walking straight through and I'm done. I mean,
listen, there's times when I walk a little slower to the point because I just need an extra moment. But usually by the time I get there, it's like, what are you going to do? Because all it's doing is putting me in a space energetically, psychically, mentally of lack versus abundance. So I try to stay in the abundance place because why not? Why not? I mean, otherwise everything else gets hijacked, and so I'm a human being first. And, part of what I do, I mean, like you guys are creative individuals as well. We're not like creative from 9 to 5. It's part of ourselves. It's part of our being, and it makes us who we are. But I think it's also important to keep a perspective and a boundary of stuff's going to happen, things that we really want. You can still really want them. It's like, but the investment of like the attachment to the outcome, I've gotten to this point in my life. I mean, between my dance career and then on camera and voiceover, like if I fully invested in it's such the rejection. If I fully invested in the no's, because I get told no like 987 million times a second.
That's a lot of no's.
If I really invested in that, if I really took that in and like swallowed it and digested it, I wouldn't get out of bed every day. So it's like,
right.
It's like, I don't like coffee ice cream, but I like other flavors of ice cream. It doesn't mean the coffee ice cream shouldn't exist. It's just not my flavor. And I'm not everyone's flavor. And that's okay. It doesn't mean I shouldn't exist, but it also means someone might enjoy me and some people doesn't. So if I'm not chosen, like the chosen one that gets, it doesn't make me go, well, forget it. I celebrate the people who got chosen because for me, I choose to celebrate other people's victories, not just my own.
Well, other people's victories, but other people's victories don't take away from ours at all, and that's such an important point. Like in a lot of industries too. I think that applies to almost every industry, but with creative individuals, we tend to experience that maybe more.
Yes.
Just
because it's all about the comparison thing, as we've heard, comparison is the thief of joy. And it's true.
It is.
Because all of that time and energy and purpose and passion that you're taking towards turning your head right and left, going, why did they get that? Why did they get that? Why not me? All of that is being hemorrhaged away from your own pursuit, passion, and purpose. And we all have a unique journey. And nobody knows truly what somebody's journey is like what we see on social media, what we maybe, or even people are telling us, it isn't always real. It isn't always true. And so I think we can't really say and know what is going on in somebody's heart of hearts. So
that's true.
I just think that if I'm nice to people, I don't know. I feel like that may be really helping them in a way that I will never know, and maybe it's none of my business, but at least it's like, it's just easier, I think, to be kind and to celebrate and support than to criticize and bash. And
there's enough negativity in the world. And I mean, like, we don't need any more of that. We need that positive,
if everybody on Twitter had this philosophy, Twitter would be such a nice place. It'd be such a wonderful place.
Really
the whole like, I recognize I'm not everybody's flavor, and I don't love everything, so I just kind of skip over the things I don't love. That
would be amazing.
Well, it also reminds me too, and of the I don't know how common this is. I've heard this in many places, but like, if you're in a room with 10 people and you're self-congratulating you're just talking about how great you are, or whatever. You have 10 people all talking about how great they are. Versus if you're praising everybody else, you now have 9 people praising you instead of just one person praising you. And it's a good philosophy on that.
That's some good math right there.
Really?
Yeah, well, and it kind of combats the hater math, which is basically if you have 999 good positive comments and 1 bad comment, then you're gonna dwell in the 1 bad comment. You're gonna dwell in the 1 hater. That's the hater math. I mean, it's just it's tough to push through. But
and you also have the choice to not engage.
That would also
There's no
be
law that
thing.
says you have to read it, respond to it. It's like, I love that saying, your opinion of me is none of my business. I love that because, again, like, I think just because people, the keyboard warriors put it out there, you're not obligated to take it in, to receive it. I'm rubber, you're glue, right?
Right. We can keep scrolling. We can snooze for 30 days. We can.
Yeah, exactly. And I honestly, I feel for, I try to, I always say I have big family syndrome. I have a large family. And so my empathy widget is really big because you don't get what you want the way you want it when you want it in a big family. You just don't. You have to compromise. You have to be a collaborator. You have to say, okay, you know what? This is your moment, not mine. So I feel for people that really lead with the toxic, because it makes me go like, gosh, I'm so sorry that you have to sort of live in that sort of acidic place. And what happened that made you have to put such venom out there? So I kind of try to spin it and go like, I send you love and I send you hope that maybe something will turn. But again, I rescue animals, not people.
There you go.
And I think that people have a choice in any moment to decide what they're going to put out and what they're going to receive. And so I give I know that I'm very conscious of that for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that people, I encourage people to take that responsibility seriously, because somebody is watching, listening, learning from what you're saying and doing. And wouldn't it be great if you were teaching something that would lift them up and send something forward that was bright? And it doesn't mean you can't have a bad day. It doesn't mean that you're a moonbeam and a rainbow and a unicorn all the time. You know, I mean, you should feel authentically what you need to, but
absolutely,
I think there's a way to power through the challenges with some different frequency than just, you know, that avalanche of negativity and toxicity is not my flavor.
I love it. This is
not mine.
This has been a good 10 minutes of conversation here, because I mean, I love the positivity. I love that. And I love the whole idea of just be positive. I mean, really it all boils down to just be kind. It costs you nothing to be kind. It costs you nothing to keep scrolling. And anybody on Facebook or Twitter would be great on those lessons of just, you know, I don't agree with that. I think I'll just keep scrolling rather than just tell a whole bunch of people who don't care about me what I think, you know, because, and then just get like dumped on by a bunch of people, whatever. And the other thing
is powerful. Silence is powerful.
Yep.
Silence is an answer. Silence is a choice. Because sometimes I think, I don't know, even with the negative comments, I feel like it's, and this is just my non-degreed psychological, but I think it's just people that are wanting to be seen and heard.
Yeah.
Yep.
And maybe they don't have anybody to talk to, and that's sad to me, you know? And it's like, but it's also like you get giving oxygen to that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just choose to go, I'm not going to give you kindling for that hatred or venom.
Right.
I'm just not going to engage. So I'm not going to try to change your mind. I'm not going to try to convince you. I'm just going to go.
Yeah.
And that is silence is, and I will tell you, because my husband is a mental health professional. Silence.
He wants me to call for an appointment.
Sure, call him over. He's got the space.
He's actually off camera with a notepad, writing and making notes. Stacey,
he's like, she's gonna need a double session.
Where do I send the bill?
I'm clearing the afternoon for this one.
Hey, Jen, remember you said you wanted to stay at the Polynesian 3-bedroom bungalow? We're gonna get that. Send the bill to Stacey.
Oh my gosh, this is an intervention, isn't it?
I mean,
well, the reason we called you here, the other thing I wanted to circle back to, and I'm going to go back to this because I love what you said about having an ending point in your projects, whether it's the point in the house you come to or whatever.
So
because,
important.
and I'm like I am, and I do itineraries for clients, and I will nitpick those things for 2 days before I send it. When I could just send it, and be like done. If there's like a misspelled word somewhere, nobody's going to be like, oh my gosh, so unprofessional. But I got to find it, I got to fix it, you know, make it look good. And at some point with that, or even other projects I work on, and I work on a lot of things all at once, I love the idea of having some point in this project where I say, this is my point of no return. Once I hit this point, be it a physical point in my house or a certain time or something, that, you know, okay, I'm done with it. I can't do anything else to it. I'm not going to allow myself to go back to it. Once it's done, it's done.
You can't stress
once I'm
over
finished
it.
with it. And I can't stress over it. I can't. And Jen knows this because I've called her in a panic a couple of times with certain things and like freaked out about things that ultimately aren't that big of a deal. And
as long as you get the dates right?
Well, sort of.
You get the dates right. Like, okay, is everything in there?
Well,
okay, like, all right. So you misspelled the word from. Nobody cares. Like, come on.
It says farm. They're not going to a farm. But no, I think it's a great business lesson though, for anybody working on any business or hobby or whatever, just to have that ending point of, this is your point of no return. And I have several people who are editor friends, and that's one of the biggest pet peeves they have is authors who keep nitpicking the book, and even after they've submitted, calling the editor going, hey, I was looking at chapter 4. Can we change this real quick? And the editor's like, no, I'm gutting the book as it is. You're not changing anything. So, you know, I love that. I love it. I love that.
Yeah.
So what are you working on now? What's happening right now with Stacey? Where are you? What's going on with you? What projects do you have in the works?
Well, projects I probably shouldn't talk about.
No problem.
Revealed here. We won't tell anybody.
You know, I always say like some things are not my story to tell. So I'm going to just sort of say, you know, it's always ongoing. So
sure,
when I can, I would. But I mean, VO Buzz Weekly is coming back in 2022.
Oh, good.
We were in the middle of obviously production, and then COVID happened and changed that idea. So we are going to have a new incarnation of the show coming in 2022. Because I am based in Miami now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Viva la Miami.
So we're based in Miami now, and you know, it was necessary for family, and you know, we needed to be closer. So like everything, pretty much, I mean, the virtual aspect is, you know, especially voiceover. I mean, I don't see it really going back to, I mean, you have the option sometimes,
right,
to go in, but people are everywhere.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we have more stories we want to tell. And so it actually opens up a really cool opportunity for us to have different conversations, and bring different abundance out there from wherever we are, wherever anyone else is. So that's going to come. We're working on that. So that's coming back. We're excited about that because we've missed it. But I think during the heat of everything, it was just, there were different conversations that needed to be had. And so we were like, you know what, let's just let people find their footing and deal with the uncertainty and all, whatever they needed to, during all of the really, I mean, I know it's not over yet, but so that's coming. And obviously Demos That Rock is going strong. And so, you know, I'm always, I don't know, every day is like a new adventure. Like, I don't know sometimes what's going to happen, but I just am there. I stand on the riverbank of the river of yes, and I just wait and go, yes, yes, thank you.
I would say too, for anybody who's looking to do voiceover work or do anything creative like that, go check out VO Buzz Weekly. It really is a series of videos where you're talking to all these different voiceover artists on how-tos and their stories and things like that. And I saw a couple of them with the Animaniacs voices coming on and talking. You guys have done close to 400 episodes, or maybe over 400 at this point. I mean, there's a lot of them on there.
Yeah, there's like, I think over 500 videos on our channel, because we also have videos of showing you the making of the demo process. I did some demos recently. We're going to put the making of those up soon here, so people can see kind of what goes into it, that it's not just reading words on a page. And we're doing them with really established pros and people that are you know, they mess up a word or they don't, you know, but just seeing how it works and how you take direction, how you can spin it and flip it. So, you know, it gives people a good idea how about that. But yeah, obviously the shows, we talk to not only voice talent, but agents, voice directors, managers, casting directors, tax accountants for creative professionals. I mean, there's all kinds of, you know, coaches, there's all kinds of people there. And what's neat too is we have fan base that's not people that are interested in voiceover. We have people that are interested in successful people and their patterns and behaviors. So that's kind of cool when we hear from people that go, I have no idea who that person is. But what I do like to hear is how they overcame those obstacles, how they persisted without hesitation, how they, you know, because I think when the world gets really noisy and people are very quick to tell you, don't do this, you should, you shouldn't. But I think that when you really go inside, go to that quiet place and go, what does my gut, what does my heart, what does my small voice say is right for me? And I think when you say this, for example, doing voiceover, whatever it is, or fill in the blank purpose in life, if it's as absolute must do as breathing, then don't let anybody tell you no. Don't let anybody tell you you can't, you shouldn't,
I love that.
You won't. Because the audacity of that to me is like, I'm sorry. And it's not, you know, because we know arrogance and confidence are two very different things.
Absolutely.
And being confident in your own truth, in the belief in yourself, if you are not your own best friend, your own advocate, your own best, brightest, loudest cheerleader, the world is not going to be. So you had better show up for yourself, the best, the brightest, the most. You had better, because the world will then follow. You are going to teach people that you are going to be treated with respect. You are not going to be allowed to be diminished, demeaned, that your light is bright and only needs to get brighter. And the world is not allowed to tell you no. And if you allow it, if people can take only things from you with your permission, and if you do not give permission to be less than your magnificent self,
right,
then you won't.
I love it.
That's so profound. It's so true. I mean, it's so true. Like you have to go, have to go for it.
As a brilliant person once said, there's a lot of things in life that you must do, but there are really only a few of those must-dos that you really want to do. And in discussing that's why we're here today. And so
I didn't write those words, so it was not me.
Well, I didn't say wrote. I said said.
Okay. Yeah,
delivered.
So
delivered with incredible sincerity.
A couple more things as we start to wind down here, because we obviously we could talk to you all afternoon, but I know you were busy and you got stuff to do and so on. So when Disney finally took off Must Do Disney, of course, that was kind of a thing. And it really was one of those, it's almost like your favorite TV show gets moved around so much that you don't even know where it is anymore. And then when suddenly it's gone, it's like, oh, is it gone now? I didn't even know it was gone because you couldn't find it to begin with. That's kind of what happened with Must Do Disney. Suddenly it was on channel like 75 or something. And that was like where I usually thought it was going to be. Suddenly it was like Disney Channel specials and stuff. I'm like, I don't want to see Duff Cameron sing Small World. Where's Stacey? And so
where's the guide?
Any
Stacey scavenger hunt.
Did somebody call you and be like, Stacey, you're gone? Or was it one of those like you got online and you're like, oh, people are saying I'm not there anymore? What, is it? How did you even find out about
lowered
that?
to half mast. No,
yes.
Honestly, I didn't think it was ending, but COVID changed everything.
Yeah.
So there was we thought it was continuing, and then COVID changed everything. Yeah. And I have to say, I'm not mad. I mean, I love it. I would have gone on as long as people said this is great and I want to see this and I want to tune in. But you know what? I have to say that, I don't know the reason for everything. And so I feel certainly incredibly grateful that my 1 year gig lasted 15. I would have, had COVID not happened,
who knows?
I'd still be there.
Yep.
But you know what? It's like, it is what it is. And I'm not going to dwell in the what isn't. I like to stay in what is and what will be. So, it was one of those things where it was, gosh, we have to go in a different direction. And they were as surprised as I was.
Oh, sure.
So it's not like it was you're doing a bad job. We don't. Yeah. It was bigger than all of us. It was bigger than the whole world. So there you go. But, they were very lovely about it. And, it's one of those things that I don't know, if something changes, maybe something will change.
Who knows?
But at the end of the day, I mean, I'm not going to shave my head. But I'm also, I'm going to keep, right? My neck would be so cold. I mean, I'm not going to sit by the phone or the computer waiting, but I'm certainly, if something changed, I would certainly look at the options. But we're going to move on because I'm not going to just, and listen, even if they said, hey, you're just not the thing anymore, which happened a few times, and then they said, oh, you're still the thing. Somebody else is allowed to have a turn, so I'm sure whatever happens next is going to be wonderful because Disney does wonderful things. True. I mean, it was certainly a moment of like, oh, wow. But again, like every year I was like, that was more? Okay. Oh, again? Okay. I mean, every time I do something, I think it's the last time I'm going to work.
Well, it made sense because the information that you had done was out of date at that point. Fast passes and stuff like that or whatever. So it completely made sense.
What are you going to do? Like,
I'm hoping and I've heard a lot of people say this. I would love for Disney Plus to have a retro Disney World channel, to have your videos on there, to have some of the old commercials on there, some stuff that we know is not currently correct. Right. But stuff that we can go on and just put on the background because I will, a lot of times, just while I'm working, I will pull up Must Do Disney on YouTube and watch the 20 minutes, have it play in the background or whatever, and my wife will come in and she's like, and I'll look at her, I'm like, scratchy, 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 and just, throw the lines out there. Exactly, or that looks like my Uncle Phil. Just the random lines and stuff. So, but I'm guessing you heard from the fans whenever it was finally pulled from Disney. Yeah. I'm guessing the fans were just tremendous for you, because I saw them everywhere talking about Stacey. Where's Stacey? We love Stacey.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't at first. Like you said, it was moving around, and then it was, because again, like it wasn't. Nobody knew what was going on, and and obviously you can't have me prancing and dancing around and doing things you can't do. So I think they were trying to figure out, like, how does this work? Right. And so I would hear from people like, oh, I couldn't find you. No, I found her. Oh, okay. And then all of a sudden it was like, I was there, and then I was not there, and then I was there. And then, definitely people were very, very lovely about, expressing, that they were sad and, oh my gosh, it won't be the same. And so, again, it was so lovely, like for people to even regard me. I mean, you don't even have to turn the TV on. You can get your information somewhere else. So it was very sweet. I mean, and people are very, very kind, about missing me. And, and I miss being there, and I certainly miss seeing everybody and being a part of that. But what we've done and what we have will always be there. It's like a time capsule.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Final question for me, do you get to the parks much? Have you been to the parks recently? Are you planning on going to the parks anytime soon?
I haven't been yet. And I don't have any plans to at the moment, because I kind of want to keep certain members of my family safe. So I'm just sort of limiting where I'm going. And,
absolutely.
So I just feel like it's not quite time.
Not quite time. Yeah. Makes sense.
Not quite time.
Yeah.
Sure. So. But one day. One day when the time's right.
Maybe we should all go together.
I was going to say, I'm down there pretty often. So.
I know a travel agent or two that can help out.
Well, I will not go with any travel agents that do typos.
David.
Well, see, the thing is, I don't do typos because I spend 2 or 3 days double checking my work before I send them. So that's my problem. So,
can I tell you, it's so weird. I don't know if it's because I have a Virgo brain, but I literally, how there's things you're just wired for? I can't not see. Like, I can look at something and go, oh, and I've seen stuff that's like high profile, and I'm like, oh, there's a typo. Like, someone gave me a gift with like a towel that had like writing on it, and there was a typo on it.
No.
I'm like, how did that happen? Like, isn't that somebody's job? And I certainly didn't burn the towel, but I was like, But I mean, the autocorrect thing is a blessing, and it's a little
and a curse.
Curse.
Yeah. Gets you.
How great is the Gmail undo?
Oh, thank God.
I've used that a couple of times.
Often I've used that. Like, undo.
Yeah.
I will tell you this, Stacey. My mother, she is a proofreader extraordinaire. She has actually taken books from the publisher, red penned them, and sent them back in because they were so bad.
She's hardcore.
She was hardcore. Awesome. She's like, listen, there was no reason for all of this to be in here. You should have proofread this better.
I know. Oh, and also like in movies, the continuity.
Yeah. Oh,
I can't not see like
a blip.
Yeah, or like someone takes a bite of the food and then the next shot there's no bite. I'm like, what?
Or I always end up watching the water or the liquid level in a glass. Anytime there's a table at a movie, and I watch it go back and forth and back and forth. Or if you'll watch buttons on a shirt or on a collar, just feel run button, then their button, then the run button, then their button. Yeah, I see a lot of that.
I know, it's like my brain is just wired, and it's not because I'm like, it's just like, I mean, my whole first part of my life was a dancer, choreographer, and so it was like, it's all visual, it's all spatial relationships, and the continuity and consistency. So it's like I'm like a superhero when it comes to just those little things. Spot what's different. I'm like, I find like 4 that aren't even on the list. I'm like, ding, 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 ding. It's just I'm visually, that's just
You're just wired that way. Yeah. That's a gift though. It's a gift. And And autocorrect is a curse. As it's done many times.
I know.
Well, it's a
That's
curse,
not what
but
I
also sometimes it takes that red squiggly line to pop up for me to figure out how to spell certain words. There are certain words I'm still trying to learn how to spell. Millennium is one. I'm like, one L, two L's,
wow.
one M, two N. I need the squigglies so I can click it and figure out how the word how the word is spelled.
Millennium. Yes.
I just air write it.
Right?
Don't give
Well,
up.
the reason we love having you on, Stacey, is we have no idea where the conversation is going to go. Like, I have no clue. I have a few things written down, and we'll just kind of throw the things out and just kind of let it ride, which is what I love. Love having Jenn with me because we do the same thing. We're just like, let it go. And so this has been wonderful. Like, I had no idea we would get life lessons, and like, which is great. I love it. I love it. So tell us where to find you. Where can our listeners follow you, find you, and where do you want to send them to whatever it is you're working on that you can tell us about, obviously?
I mean, StaceyJAswad.com is my website, and I'm on social. I mean, I'm not always super social. Sometimes I'm less social. But I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, some, not all the time. And yeah, I'm just out there. I'm out there. Stacey at StaceyJAswad.
Nice.
Is kind of, and then VO Buzz Weekly. We have the YouTube channel. We have VOBuzzWeekly.com. There's a free app as well, VO Buzz Weekly app. So yeah, it's weird because I think people probably think I never work because I'm not. There's just aspects about my life that I'm not super. Like I don't talk about money. I don't talk about I don't blast my personal life necessarily. I mean, my cats are kind of the stars of my Instagram. I mean, I do some, but I also like with work, I just sort of feel like I work hard in silence,
Yeah.
So,
well, and you're a great celebrity to follow and to really enjoy because there isn't scandals and there isn't dark secrets and I'm never worried about like what are we gonna did you hear about Stacey? Oh my god, none of that. We just like you. I mean, that's just and I say that of course tomorrow the bomb will drop, but for right now everything is great.
The closets have deadbolts.
As it should be.
That is wonderful.
No
Stacey,
skeletons.
thank you so much for joining us again. This has been wonderful.
Oh, I love you guys, and thank you so much, and thank you for having me, and again for all that you do, and you just make people feel so good and give them just wonderful opportunities to experience life. And happy holidays to everyone.
Happy holidays.
Yes. Same to you and the family.
Yes, absolutely. And the cats.
Yes, and the cats.
Oh,
love Stacey. She's just great. Just so great. And it's funny because whenever our quasi-producer Heather was looking at the show and she was kind of doing some editing, she does the video on YouTube, by the way. We are on YouTube. We just kind of throw the show up there for visual. And she was looking at it and she told me that she thought it was hilarious that you were fangirling over Stacey. And I admitted I was completely fangirling, fanboying. I was fanning over Stacey because Stacey's fantastic. She really is. I love Stacey. I love having her on. She's just awesome. Of course, find her online. Again, Stacey J. Aswad, ASWAD.com. And of course, you can find us at the MSE Podcast on all the places. Find us at the MSE Podcast at gmail.com. That is our email address. We'd love to hear from you. Find us at themsepodcast.com online. Follow the show notes there and all the fun stuff and all the guests we've had on and all the things there, the show notes and such, and those type things. The MSC Podcast, you'll find that on Twitter, on Facebook, and of course on Instagram as well. Find me on Instagram. I'm actually going to Disney World in a couple of days, so I'll be there for a week actually. So you can follow all the fun and frivolity and magic from there. Find me on the V is important, the Magic on a Dollar on Instagram. Find me Magic on a Dollar and Disney on a Dollar on Facebook. Of course, find Jenn on Instagram at Jenn_Novotny. That's her personal page. Find her also at Upon a Star Jenn. And of course, she's on Facebook as well. I believe the Upon a Star page, Upon a Star Travel, is on Facebook and Twitter and all those fine places as well. So definitely come join us, come follow along. Of course, as we mentioned, Stacey and Lost Bros Trading Co. That's the site we were talking about earlier with all the Stacey stuff. The shirts, of course, aren't there yet, but I'm crossing my fingers that they will be soon enough. Don't forget to come back next week, and we will have a special Thanksgiving episode for you guys. Jen will likely be out again one more week as she's taking kind of the week off, and really, I want to be on vacation too. We're recording this new episode coming up in a couple of days or so, and Heather will be joining us. Quasi-producer Heather will come on the show with us just for a few minutes, and yeah, enjoy the show, folks. I hope you guys have a very good beginning to your Thanksgiving week. We'll talk to you next week, and don't forget to thank all of your Phoenicians.
Thank you for listening to the Main Street Electrical Podcast. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at the MSE Podcast, or visit our website at themsepodcast.com. Be sure to subscribe, and may all your wishes come true.